Okay, today, okay, of course, I'm Eric Deloach, and I'm your residential book author. And we have a special, well, two people as guests, a family. And I'll just hold up this book for you guys. So this is it's very beautiful. Um, I bought one for my mother and I bought one for myself. I was born in Elberton, Georgia, just to let everybody out there know. My mother was born in Elberton, Georgia. And so in Elberton, Georgia, we have a beautiful African American museum that is informative and maintains the history of African Americans in the area. This is heritage that we're talking about. But with no further ado, we're going to allow um, this very wise family to introduce themselves and tell us about the museum. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Jimmy White, and I'm the founder, or one of the founders. My wife here, Aurolyn, is the other, of the Jim-Ree African American Museum. And we've been in existence since October 2015.
Okay.
And my wife, Aurolyn.
Hi, I'm Aurolyn White. I'm one of the founding members of the museum, and actually we've been in existence since 1996.
Okay.
We've been in that building since 2015.
Oh, so officially.
Yeah, officially in a permanent location since 2015.
Beautiful. What inspired a lot of time people say, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create something. I want something of memory or something of value. What inspired the fulfillment of this dream into reality of the museum?
Well, I can go back to 1996. I was once a resident of New York City myself, and I moved back to Elberton in 1995, and I was interested in whether or not Black History Month was utilized or observed. Yeah, that's good. In Elbert County, and on a community wide basis, and I was told no. So I just decided that I met with a few people, and we decided that we would, do a what do we call it?
Black History Month.
Black History Month display at the Blackwell Memorial Cultural Center during the month of February, which is Black History Month. And, with items coming in and the items that I had, especially preserved from New York, and some items, artifacts and so forth, that my parents had, we just started an exhibit at the Blackwell Culture Center, and it kind of mushroomed into, people saying, well, you have enough information here for a museum. So, and that's how the idea of a museum, African American museum, came about.
And I later met Jimmy in 2005 when I was working on that book that you held up. And we met, and my interest in the museum blossomed as well. And so we just pursued that idea, and it came into fruition.
Yes. Did you run, just for young people, did you run into any obstacles that you had to overcome? Just so that people know that you have to persevere, you have to stick to your guns.
Right. Well, it wasn't easy.
Right.
That's the first thing. We actually started out with a shoestring budget. In other words, that's no money.
Right, right.
Mainly. And we relied on donations. We set up a membership kind of thing, and that's kind of how it went. And when we were able to get the building that we are in now, which is 24 South Oliver Street here in Elberton, the Board of Commissioners leased that building to us for $1 a year for at least the next 50 years. And so that's kind of how we got it. And we were able to, that's kind of how we got started. And we were able to get a grant through the county because the county owned the building. And that enabled us to renovate just a small portion of the building to get our museum actually started.
So we haven't really overcome all our hurdles, but we've overcome the thought that we need a permanent location. So we do have that, but there's still many things we must overcome.
And by the way, I'd like to add that the book that you held up, which is a picture of my parents and me as a baby, a portion of the sales go to the towards the upkeep of the museum.
Okay, okay. Did you at any time, you are participants that came to the museum, did anybody ever cry when it came into, you know, they were just so touched by you know, that it became a reality and they were seeing their heritage, and even if they weren't from the area, they were seeing Black history, and it just kind of really caught them, you know,
Wasn't you crying when you came?
Possibly. Well, okay, you were okay, possibly so. But tell me some other people. I wouldn't make it about me. We're making about the greatness of this museum, which is beautiful.
We always see wonder in their eyes and excitement, but I myself have not seen excitement that led to tears that I am aware of.
Right. Now, what do you observe when you see children? And what effect do you think it will have on children? Or what have you seen as children just being amazed? What have you seen?
Pride, a lot of pride. That's what I've noticed, and it's usually with teenagers rather than young kids. I think young children just accept things as they are. They don't know that they should be in awe that we have this in Elberton, Georgia, but teenagers tend to be in awe and very proud.
It's amazing to see some of the expressions on their faces because of their gaining knowledge about history in Elbert County, and even learning about their own families. So, you know, that has been great satisfaction for me, and I think for Aurolyn too, to see that and to know that they are learning about their heritage.
Absolutely. And what people should know also about Elberton, Georgia, if you don't know, it's the granite capital of the world.
Right.
And I did some other research just to know about Elberton. During the Great Depression, they actually did not have a Great Depression because of the granite that they were able to do business overseas. And actually, I think either the end of the 1800s or somewhere the beginning of the maybe 1930 something or whatever, if you do your research, they actually won a prize for beautiful granite. And so again, what blew my mind is that during the Great Depression, that due to them having international business, that ability to market and stuff, that they were actually booming during the Great Depression.
Right.
Yeah, and
And
so
they also paid people's, like the teachers' salaries.
right.
When the banks wouldn't cash the teachers' checks written by the state, they also funded payment for teachers. So it wasn't just for the people who worked in the industry. They helped the entire community.
Yeah, and so I want to. My mother would always tell me, and she's alive, that it was known as possibly one of the richest counties, the most
Yes.
millionaires than any other county that's in the over Fulton, over all of that. Atlanta hadn't having per capita more millionaires than any other county in Georgia. So the reason I want to bring that to bear, because so they understand the significance of Black people living amongst that, being a part of that, having farms, working in the grant industry, and just raising their families, coming out of slavery and all of these types of things. So it's quite a sight to see the museum and just see Black people that went through, that were part of that community and still a part of that community today.
Right.
Very, very special, very special.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So tell us what kind of got me, maybe got me almost to cry, you would say, is when I saw the picture of I think my mother too, when we saw the picture of the years that the men have went out to war, and you saw nothing but women that were graduating or had classes of just women. I thought that was pretty interesting, that education kept going on even though the men went off to war, and you saw the beautiful picture of these women that were continuing their education and continued helping the community in Elberton.
Well, a lot of times students do not see African Americans as participants in the military, because when they look through books and so forth, they do not necessarily see faces that look like, in particular, my face. And so it's very nice to have evidence. And, it took years for African Americans to be recognized by the military itself, by being given those medals of honors and so forth. So it's nice to have a little bit of evidence that, yes, African Americans did serve right out of Elbert County.
Absolutely.
So that's nice.
Absolutely. And what impact, and I may have said this before, but what impact did you want for even whites or Black, us as African Americans, to have from seeing our heritage? What was you, as you being creating a brainchild, becoming a brainchild that became a reality, and you being the creator of this museum, what did you want to impart to the world?
Well, one of the things we wanted to impart was the fact that African Americans played a very important part in just about everything that went on here, and the fact that there were so many, because of the educational system here, so many that went on to do great things, geniuses in music and in math and other areas, and we wanted to impart that to our younger generation, to let them know that you can also do and be whatever you desire to be, if you just put forth the effort, and to also to show them that we in the person of the museum have been able to do what we've done for the community, and display those persons who have made an impact on Elberton, and being from Elbert County.
Yeah. And let me ask you this real quick. What And can each one of you could tell me, because you have so many precious items. Can you tell me, each one of you, which is your most that is your favorite piece that you have? Each, I'm sure there's one. Maybe you both like the same piece as the top piece, but what are each one of your favorite piece or whatever it would be?
I'm thinking that yours would be what's his name?
Okay, I'll start off
Yeah.
since he's determined to tell you mine. I'll tell you mine. My favorite piece, I have several,
Yeah,
but I must admit, the piece that he think is my favorite is actually not.
okay.
My favorite piece is the display that we have of African American teachers from
Okay.
1951, where it
Okay.
talks about the great teachers
Okay.
that the African Americans have. And
Right.
that, of course, was under Jim Crow.
Right.
And it was a big, big article in the newspaper. It had
Mhm.
pictures of all the teachers. It told just had a little blurb about what each teacher did. I just think that article was wonderful. And I think it was so wonderful because those teachers did do those things, but it also points out the desire by the politicians in the community to keep the status quo, separate but equal, by claiming that separate but equal worked.
And also I just to add to that, I mean, that's one of my, it might be my favorite also, because those teachers were my teachers.
Okay.
When I was enrolled at the Blackpool Memorial High School. And so what she's saying is I actually lived it and can confirm that. But one of my other um, pieces that I admire is the picture of my father working in the granite business and doing the job that he was assigned to, and knowing that he worked there for somewhere between 45 and 50 years.
Wow.
And it afforded the kind of livelihood that many of us did not have, because my mom was not able to work, and so he was really just based on his income from that granite industry able to provide and even able to get me a way into college. So that's a favorite, and that's, as I see that. And by the way, while I'm talking about him, the name of the museum was in honor of my dad and mom. My dad being Jim, and my mom being Ree, as he always referred to her throughout my life. So I asked the group to consider that name, and everybody accepted it, so it became Jim-Ree African American Museum.
Right, great. So do you okay, do you have another one? And I want to ask you too, that I think that I'm talking to the author people, that you also were a teacher.
Yes, I was a math and science teacher. I've just recently retired.
Right. Is there another piece that we saw? He was able to give us some great pieces. Is there another piece that was a favorite of yours as well?
Well, my next favorite, of course, would be William Henry Hurd.
Okay.
He was once enslaved in Elbert County, and at the age of 15, he realized freedom during June of 1865.
Okay.
He went from being enslaved to writing several books, to being the bishop in the AME Church, and to being a ambassador to Liberia, Africa. he was also involved in the Back to Africa movement. So he's just an inspiration, early civil rights leader that has been forgotten by many.
Wow, wow. And then I like also that he was saying that his father worked with the Granite, in which in other counties, maybe one or two others, but outside of Elberton, that was not even an option. So that is fantastic. Can we talk about now? You have somebody in there forcing that own Black family, that own, and I might be related to him. I don't know. My mother's side forcing as well, that owned 400 acres of land. Tell us about that story. And that's in the book, but also it just kind of, I don't know, it kind of ties all together. The book ought to be in the museum. It really should.
Right. Well, George Mike Fortson, people called him Mike.
Right.
He was self-taught.
Okay.
In the granite industry, and built his business, by taking rubble, pieces of granite that were discarded by the sheds and the quarries that they couldn't use, and he made something out of that. So he was a very interesting, charismatic man. He was one of our founding board members, but he has since passed.
Now, how did he get the 400 acres as a Black man?
I believe his parents had that, and I don't really remember the story of how their family owned that amount of acreage, but Jimmy's grandparents owned how many acres?
It was only 125 acres.
And then
only 125.
And then my family, I think my family, my dad's people here in Elberton owned about 80 acres. So I'm not really sure how certain people got their land. I just, when you get to a certain point, you just know they had it.
It was a mystery. We think that, it was passed on from way back, going back to slavery, and passed on and on, and resulted in the hands of our grandparents.
And some of them may have worked for it once they were free.
Yeah, that's
right. Worked for it. And I'm not sure, farmers had their methods of getting money. Sometimes, I think during the Prohibition, not saying that anybody was involved in it, but, when you look back at just historical facts and significance and how people made money who didn't have any, back in the day, Black people didn't own granite, but they did work for those companies.
Right.
And I guess they were able to manage and forage and save, but for the farmers, I'm not sure if land they got it through their owners, or if they worked. If they, I'm not going to say that my grandparents was involved with the prohibition of liquor sales and all that. I really don't know, because my grandparents died before I was interested in anything. And not that they would tell us anyway. Some things they kept to themselves. So
I
don't know.
One other point, with reference, actually for our younger audience, with reference to going from almost not having anything in the museum to where we are now. The fact that much of what we have there is a result of donations. People loan items to us. I brought items from New York when I came, and that is how it kind of mushroomed into actually needing us needing to expand, and hopefully we'll get some financial assistance to to utilize more of the building because there is room there, but it just needs to be renovated and put together for all of the items, artifacts, and materials that we do have. So one can start off with almost $0 and move into something similar to what we've been able to do.
Just determination, and you can't have thin skin.
Okay.
You know, you can't let the things that don't work out for you stop you.
Right.
And you can do everything the right way and be successful, but you have to be determined, and your skin has to be thick, because there are some very hurtful things that go on, but we have not let it stop us thus far. We're determined that that museum will be here, you know, well after we have ceased to be here.
Also, affiliated with the museum is an historic cemetery.
Okay.
Which is still Black owned. It was formerly known as the St. Mary's Cemetery. I think there were a couple other names. And when we took it over, museum that is, took it over, it was renamed to Pinetown Cemetery, because that area was once referred to as, or still is, as Pinetown, the Pinetown area in Elberton County. So it's not just the museum, but it's also an historic cemetery that has you know, former slaves and former famous people buried out there, and it's our responsibility of maintaining that as we go along these days.
Absolutely. Do you think in the future you will have? I'm actually a 4th generation farmer with the land in Elberton. So do you think that you would in the future will have an exhibit of farmers? Because you got background too in some parts as farming. I think it's you think in the future you may have something on farmers a little bit.
We actually do have some artifacts on farmers in storage. Because we just have not had the space, but that is one of our big desires, is to be able to display information on farmers, because at one point, most people in Elberton County were farmers rather than, you know, over anything else, they were farmers. That's how they started out. And we also have an interesting story. I won't go into great detail about a Black farmer who was eventually found guilty of a crime, and that was John Downer. You know, it's on his story is on the internet. But I would one day like to especially do a display on him.
Okay. And let me just say this, with this new Juneteenth that has kind of just emerged so greatly. I'm sure you're doing something connected with that these days, right? I mean, Juneteenth is it just has rocketed into something that's amazing. So it ties right into museums with it's so tell us about the activities dealing with Juneteenth and some of the great things that you're doing.
Well, before Aurolyn gets into that, I just would like to say that was one of the back in 1996, one of the things that we emphasized, and I'm not taking the credit for it, but I actually wanted to know if Juneteenth was being celebrated here. And we, from that discussion, we started to celebrate Juneteenth here in Elberton County back then. And that was kind of before the actual Juneteenth was declared Juneteenth. third Monday, I believe. So we've been celebrating Juneteenth for quite some time, but I'll let Aurolyn go into what she was going to say about Juneteenth.
Well, we have a festival on Juneteenth, but it depends what the museum, when we celebrate it, we always celebrate it on the Saturday before that Monday. And so that's what we will do this year as well. We'll have our big celebration on that Saturday, where we have a festival on the Elberton Square. Now, this past year, the entire community on both sides of the track, I'll say, had some involvement with the festival. We had children doing speeches through the Martin Luther King Jr. Committee. Right. We had a health fair. And we had a gospel concert, and all of these occurred over 3 days, all of those things. I'm not sure how big we'll celebrate it this year, but we will, of course, celebrate that big occasion, because it affected all African, well, maybe not all, but I'll say 90% of African Americans were affected, especially in the South, with the ending of the Civil War and the gaining of actual liberation.
Right. I would attest to that I would believe, yeah, that he did celebrate it before it became big, because I was in school in Texas, and they had big things going on way before maybe even Biden and different people even really knew about it, or even Trump, who accidentally stumbled on knowing about it. But yeah, that it's been celebrated. But I mean, now it's huge. They're having speeches and different events, and it just really ties in with a museum.
Now, had it not been celebrated, it would not be a holiday today. So, right. Someone had to bring attention to it. Right. And those people in Texas did a great favor by noting June 19th, because locally, William Henry Hurd wrote a book, and he mentioned how he discovered that he was actually free, and he mentioned the time period, but he did not put a date on it, such as June 19th. He just talked about that time period, and you were able to figure out, okay, he's talking about the month of June. You can figure it out, but there was no date mentioned. So the people of Texas, we thank you greatly for fighting so hard for it to become a state holiday, and then for themselves, and then somehow or another, those politicians and others fought and worked. And not only is it a national holiday, it is a state holiday in Georgia as well. A lot of people don't realize that. Maybe because last year it was so new. Right.
So I want to say, is this, we haven't, just time is almost expiring, but tell us anything else you want us to know for the future, things that are coming up. Definitely, I'm going to tell my church, First Emmy, right here, that I would really love to see you guys come down and in a group, and get a chance to see it, and it's really good. And I'm going ahead of myself, but I'm also to go get this beautiful book. I'm ahead of myself. We're going to do another interview on that. But what else did you want to share with us? I'm very impressed and honored to have an opportunity to meet you.
Thank you.
And interview you. My mother said, "Oh my God, you're going to interview them today?" she just put inside. And so yeah, you guys are very special and doing beautiful work. And so tell us anything else you want to tell us. We're definitely honored to have you.
Well, we want to just let everyone know that we also celebrate Kwanzaa, which begins the day after Christmas, which is December 26th and ends on January 1st. Every year we have a Kwanzaa celebration at the museum, beginning at 6:30 p.m.
Mhm.
And again, this year it would be on December the 26th,
Monday.
Monday. And we will go through and kind of inform the public about Kwanzaa, how it got started, how it came to be celebrated, its significance, and why we should really continue that celebration.
And then we also have a second night where we will have it at Union Grove Baptist Church. And on that occasion, it's feast night, though it's not on the actual feast night. We're going to do that on the 27th of December. So we'll have 2 nights of celebration. And anyone who wants to participate, please contact us and let us know. We can be contacted by emailing us at jam@jimree.org. Our phone number is 706-408-4448. We welcome all communications.
And I think you let me know if I'm incorrect. Give them a call and set up an appointment time.
Yes.
And then I'm sure that they will accommodate you. And you will be richly rewarded. And watching everything. Is there anything else you want to share with us? We're definitely again honored to have you.
Definitely, please call us for an appointment. If you plan on coming to Elberton, don't come and not go to the museum. But we are a small organization. We don't have full-time employees. So we like for people to call us and make that appointment so that we'll know you're coming and we can be ready. Again, 706-408-4448.
Okay, and I'll get the information from you, and we'll put that in the body of the video.
Thank you.
As well. And sir, do you have anything? The brainchild of this right here, the architect of this. Is there anything else you want to say, sir?
Well, I'm just happy to have been able to be part of the initiation of an African American museum. And as Aurolyn, my wife, said, we welcome and we would like to see more visitation of the museum and just to see what we have and how we've been able to maintain it and just an explanation of a lot of items, artifacts, and so forth that's in the museum. I'm just happy to have been, as I said, been a part of the beginning and the continuation of the museum. And thank you for having us.
We are very proud to be on your show. We are proud of you. I have one of your books. I'm not sure if you've written that second one and gotten it published yet, but just proud